Hey guys, my name is Haley and we're going to be filming a book haul. This will be my half of it, and Kate also filmed one over on her channel. Spoiler alert, I have so many more books.
Yes.
So we might be here for a little while, but we're going to try to speed through it because we have things to do today.
Yeah. My books. Go subscribe to my channel.
If for some reason you're here and not on case. So, we're going to start with the ones that I literally just picked up, and that is City of Saints and Mad Men. This is a Jeff Vandermeer book. I know Kate has a very love-hate relationship with Jeff Vandermeer. I've only read one of his books, and it was Born, and I loved it.
Born's amazing.
And I've heard really good things about Annihilation, but yeah. I know the rest of the series is terrible, so I've never read the first one. But this is a series, ? And it was just in really good condition at the used bookstore, so I thought I would try it. It also sounds very interesting. And then we have Michael Crichton. I've been saying I've been picking up his books if I ever find them anywhere for like $5 or less or free in a lot of the little free libraries. So I literally don't know what this is.
Airframe?
Airframe. Michael Crichton. Oh, this is the Women Talking book that we both picked up. I honestly don't remember. It's the one about Mennonite women. We both picked it up. We will probably buddy read it, to be completely honest. And it just sounded very interesting. I've never read a book about Mennonite or Amish women, so I thought this would be an interesting way to look into like both that culture and culty-like things. Yeah. Not to say that Mennonites are culty, but this book sounds culty. Yeah. Then we have Only Revolutions by Mark Z. Danielewski. As you know, I have been picking up all of his books to see if I like any of his other books because I loved House of Leaves. So I think he only has he has this, he has one other standalone, and then he has that series, which I'm very excited to read. It's literally in gift wrap. I didn't even notice it. This is, it looks like it. Okay. This is the 50 Shades of Grey series, obviously. I never read these. These honestly came out right after I came out of high school, and I didn't read for 3 years. It was the 3 years that these came out. So not only did I not read them for it wasn't my taste in books at that time, but I also just wasn't reading at the time. So I just kind of missed this train, and then Kate reminded me that it's Twilight fanfiction.
Yes. Everyone forgot that it was Twilight fanfiction.
I did know that at some point, and I just forgot. So we will be reading these for the meme, and maybe even annotating them for fun.
I always say, if you like Twilight, try 50 Shades of Grey. It is hilarious, because it's so obviously fanfiction.
We are also buddy reading and annotating Twilight, so that'll be a nice addition to that.
Yes. We're on Eclipse?
Yeah.
Do that soon.
And then we have a Dan Simmons. I've never read Dan Simmons. I know he's a huge horror writer and has a million books. And this is called Drood, and I picked it up and I went, wait, is that based on The Mystery of Edwin Drood, which is a book that Charles Dickens wrote and never finished. I'm assuming it was because he died before it was finished. And there was a musical based on this that a friend of mine was in that I went and saw years ago, and I loved it because in the musical you get to, the audience kind of gets to pick the ending, and there's 5 or 6 different endings. So I'm very interested to see how they're going to make a horror version of that. And also, I just love horror, so this is also very thick. So we'll see.
Wait, what else has Dan Simmons written?
Oh, he wrote Summer of Night. He has written a lot of stuff.
Yeah, my fiance read The Terror.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Then we have 2 Albert Camus. We have The Stranger, and we have The Plague. This is the one that was out of stock everywhere at the beginning of the pandemic. I remember you saying.
Because I was trying to find it.
And then The Stranger, I honestly don't know very much about. It's just something that's been on my radar for a long time that I know that you have read. Are these the only 2 that you have of his?
I've only read The Stranger, So it was really good.
These are very cheap, so I thought I would try him. Also, I'm very into plague and pandemic books, obviously, so.
Just step your toe into classics.
Yeah. And then, lo and behold, we were at a random Goodwill, and I found the first volume of Comey Can't Communicate.
That's such a good find.
Never see manga at thrift stores, #1 around here. And also, I read 6 or 7 of these volumes last summer at her house and loved them, but I'm just really bad at buying manga, which is why I read her copies of it, because they're really expensive and I read them too fast. So I was very excited to see this, and hopefully I will look for more if people are reading through the series at Goodwill's and dropping them off. And then we have the No Fear Shakespeare Hamlet. Hamlet is the one Shakespeare that I have read other than Romeo and Juliet, and it was my favorite. David Tennant's in a version of Hamlet that I really like. I honestly might own it.
You have it. Yep.
So we have extra ones. I have like 4 of them.
Yeah.
And I've only ever read 2 of them.
12th Night. Midsummer Night's
It was
Dream.
literally $2. It's fine.
Yeah. You're just super into Shakespeare.
I really like Hamlet. And then we have The Perfect Nanny. I honestly saw several copies of this, and I've been looking for more nanny books so I can do a like book recommendations video on it, because I've read several and loved all of them. And this kind of sounds more like your like typical mainstream thriller, so I'm not sure how it's gonna go, but nanny book.
I remember when that was first coming out, I I was anticipating it and I never picked it up.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard of it. I just kept seeing it on the shelves and I was like, I should try it because it's that Penguin edition. And we have, I weirdly found a lot of books that have been on my list for me to buy for like years and I just never bought. And they just kind of appear to have price books, which is why I started throwing things in the cart and not paying attention. So we have After Dark, which you actually found. And this is my favorite of Murakami's books that I've read. I like genuinely love this and gave it 5 stars. I think I liked it more than Windup Bird because this is more up my alley of being like set in the course of 24 hours and kind of horror-y. Yeah. Like I feel like it's more horror-y than his other stuff that I've read. So I also really like this edition. It's very shiny.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Murakami. I can't understand it. I should pick that book up. Is this going to be the Kate stack? The Kate made me read it stack.
Then we have Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead, which I also read last summer while I was at Kate's house. I read her copy and I read it in like a day and a half, and it was really good. It was very interesting, like, I don't want to say social commentary. Is it more like
kind of social commentary?
A little bit. I really enjoyed it. And I was like, I don't know if I'll ever pick this up, but if I saw it in person, I would. And here we are.
This book I've seen actually quite a few places recently.
I've never seen it in person.
I guess maybe it's getting bigger.
And then we have The Sundown Motel. This honestly is a thriller that I thought was really, really fun when I first read it. And then the more I thought about it, this is one of the more interesting thrillers because it actually has a paranormal aspect to it. I feel like a lot of thrillers are like, give hints that it might be paranormal and then it's not, and then I get bored.
Yep.
So this is actually something I really compare a lot to the TV show Supernatural. This feels like a very old Supernatural episode and I loved it. I also read her other book, which wasn't my favorite, but I enjoyed this one a lot. Then we have
this
Vanilla.
Is another Kate made me.
Yeah. I remember you reading this years ago and it's told in verse.
Yes. I'm not a poetry person, I still loved it.
What is this one about?
So this is about a young boy he's queer and he, like, at the beginning identifies as gay, so he has a boyfriend and everything, and then as time goes on, he starts to realize that he is asexual. This had a lot of, like, controversy surrounding it, because people were like, oh, it's so problematic and aphobic. The characters are aphobic. 100% trigger warning for aphobia. But, like, the book, it's making a commentary. Yeah. It's on purpose. Yeah. Which is my biggest pet peeve, is when people don't realize that it's on purpose. Yeah. So, yes. It's really good.
It was just one of those things I forgot that you read until I saw the cover and I was that looks very familiar. I also really like it. It's very pretty.
It's a very, very good book.
And then we have 6-4 by Hideo Yokoyama. I have seen this book several times in both thrift stores and used bookstores and never picked it up, and I know that you owned it. So I was like, maybe another buddy read, as we said when we haven't done a single buddy read in
ages.
And now we just have a list of maybe we'll buddy read this. What is this about?
This is, okay, so the thing is that it's either a thriller you hate or love, because mostly it is a thriller, and it's about, like, there's this girl who, like, died ages ago and they never uncovered her body, or, like, who did it or whatever, and it's kind of about that, but mostly it's actually a big commentary on Japanese police force and, like, the police force and, like, all of that kind of stuff. So some people love it, some people hate it, because it's a lot more commentary than actual thriller.
Which I think we would probably enjoy more than
I would enjoy more.
It's also the floppiest paperback in existence. And we have another book that I really enjoyed. Kate definitely enjoyed more than me, but I was the one that told her to read it. And that is Leave the World Behind. This is just a very fast thriller. It almost starts off contemporary thrillery and then goes more towards speculative fiction. Yeah. And I thought it was a fascinating read. I honestly almost DNF'd this book like the first 50 pages because I thought the characters were super annoying, but I'm glad that I didn't because the ending was one of the best endings I've read in quite a while.
They're super unlikable characters.
Yeah.
But like, again, supposed to be.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed this, and I'm excited to own a copy of it. I also really like The Blue.
Yeah.
And then we have Vampire Book, which honestly, I think I even said in the store, I've picked this book up in, I think, even half-price books more than once. Because I'm always like, that's a really pretty cover, and never looked it up, like, on Goodreads or anything, and we finally looked it up this time. And it's a book on vampires, like urban fantasy. And I was like, I actually do want to get back into vampires. I know vampires are coming back.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued by it, and also this cover was beautiful. And there was a mention of hell on earth. I remember that being a thing, and I was like, are we talking literal hell? Because then I'm interested.
Yeah.
So I will let you know
so cool.
how this goes. The spine is also very pretty.
I like how it says horror right on there.
Right, literal horror. Oh, yes. What is this actually? 2 years, 8 months, and 28 nights. I picked this up and looked it up in Goodreads, and it has absolutely terrible ratings, like less than a 3.0. And I was like reading it, and it just kind of sounds like bizarre, almost horror-y fiction. And then Kate was like, oh, that's the guy that wrote the
Satanic Verses.
And I was like, oh, maybe that's why it has really bad ratings. But I really wanted to try it. I honestly don't remember what it was. Storm strikes New York City and strange things start happening. Sounds like a horror book that I would be interested in.
I read The Midnight Children by him, and it was pretty good.
And then we have Wilder Girls. If you were around last summer, this is just me picking up books that I read last summer, apparently. I read Burn Our Bodies Down, which is somewhere up there. And I did read Wilder Girls before that, and I thought it was, like, pretty decent. And then I read her other book, and I was the only person on the planet who thought it was, like, a retelling of, like, a biblical story. And I never made that video, so maybe I will reread these and talk about it. Because I was, like, the entire time I was reading it, we were, like, sitting around the apartment, and we were, like, I was like, is this about, like, a Bible story? And you were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh, okay. And then I literally, like, searched the Goodreads reviews, and nobody was talking about it. So I'm very interested in Rory Power as a person because of that book, so I figured I would pick up her other book, which I did enjoy. It's just more body horror than I enjoy most of the time, so that was the reason. I think I gave it like 3.754 stars, so not a bad book by any means. And then we have my nanny books that I've read so far that I really enjoy, and that is Such a Fun Age and Nothing to See Here. This is probably one of the strangest books I've ever read. It's about kids who just spontaneously combust, like, into little balls of fire, and this lady who becomes their nanny and has to figure out how to deal with that. And then Such a Fun Age is about a black girl who gets a job at a rich family's as a nanny. I was like, a rich family's house as a nanny, and she takes the girl out to a store one day, and this white couple thinks that she has stolen the child. And it was a very interesting commentary both on just like the way that rich people have power over other people, and just I also really related to the nanny aspects. If you didn't know, I am a nanny. I feel like I've talked about that recently. Was that in your video?
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, I really enjoy both of these, and I'm excited to read more nanny stories, and I'm very excited to own copies because I've always wanted to find them. We're running out of room.
Oh my god, there's so whole nother stuff.
I don't want to talk about it. I'm pretty sure this is also a vampire horror. And it's called Roseneath, and I picked it up because I was like, oh, that's a cool cover, and looked it up on Goodreads. It only has like 40 ratings. And I didn't realize this until we went to a second bookstore, and I also saw it there and like actually looked at the author. She's from Kent State University, which is very close to me, and I was like, why am I finding this in all of these? Right. Why am I finding these in random used bookstores? And now I realize why there were copies there, because the girl is from Kent State. So I will let you know how this goes. It is a very cool cover. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Psychological horror, apparently. Then we have The Windup Girl. I actually got this in the little free library.
Yeah, that was a good find.
Paulo Bacagaluppi. And this was a book that I saw a million times on BookTube like 5 years ago, and everybody was talking about it. And it's dystopian? Sci-fi?
I think it's sci-fi. It's like steampunk sci-fi.
Steampunk
I also owned this at one point.
So I'm very excited to try it, and I kind of went for books I've read recently or in the last year and didn't own, and then books that I heard of 5 years ago and never read. We have a random...
Oh yes, I accidentally bought this twice.
And this is a series I thought I would try because I didn't love Percy Jackson. I think it's just because I, like, missed the train because it was, like, after my age group. So I figured I would try a Rick Riordan because it was free.
I guess those are really funny because apparently Apollo's, like, a dick.
And then we have The Mechanical. I genuinely don't remember what this is.
I think you got that at, like, Goodwill.
Maybe. Set in a world that might have been of mechanical men and alchemy dreams, and I definitely looked up the Goodreads thing. I'm now coming back to me. It was basically a like dystopian future where there are mechanical men, which sounds a lot like the Cassandra Clare series.
Oh, Clockwork
Yeah,
Angel?
The Clockwork Angel series. So I was like, I really like that concept, so I will try this because it was 30 cents. And then we have a completely different thing. We have Queens of Geek. This is a contemporary set at a con, I believe. Yeah. And it has doesn't have a lot of representation.
Yeah, the main character is autistic, and I believe there's also a asexual character.
And I've been reading a lot more contemporary, especially if it is gay. So we've been wanting to read this. I remember this existed literally when I saw the cover. I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to read that.
I read that. I thought it was really cute.
Then we have The Magpie Murders, which is by Anthony Horowitz. He's also a huge horror author, and I've tried to read this on audio like 4 times, and I can't get into it. I know it's about an author. It's like half about an author and then like half about his story that he's writing and like the thriller, the thrillery aspect of that. So I thought I would pick it up and see if I can read it physically because the audio was not working. Then we have a Jodi Picoult, which I have never read Jodi Picoult, but I know she was huge on BookTube several years ago, and this is about a school shooting.
School. I was like, whenever I started reading her again, I was like, these are from like middle school.
And this is about a school shooting, right? And New Hampshire, that was the other kicker, because she is from New Hampshire, kind of. So I figured I would try a Jodi Picoult. If it's going to be more thrillery, I'm more likely to enjoy it.
I think the whole thing is the whole shooting happens in 19 minutes.
Yeah.
So you go through a bunch of perspectives for like 400 pages.
And then we have Ella Oliphant is Completely Fine. This is another BookTube book that I just never read because I wasn't reading contemporary, and she is on the spectrum, isn't she?
Yes, she's autistic.
Yes. So I figured I would pick this up for relatively cheap. That is not how much it was. It says it was $12. I think I got it for like $2.
Yeah.
And then we have Immaculate. This is about a virgin birth, which is very like biblical and like Mary of the Bible. So I tend to try to pick up things that talk about virgin births just to compare it, because that is something I'm very familiar with of storyline wise. I've also never heard of that, but I love the cover.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
And then we have books that I've seen in every thrift store in my entire life, and that is the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons. I think this one's first.
Yes.
And we've actually been looking at these in every bookstore we went to try and find the other ones, and I haven't seen them yet, but I'm sure I will find them soon. I have seen the Da Vinci Code. I watched it as like a child when it came out, and this is how angry of a child I was. I watched it and I was angry that Ian McKellen was the villain. He turned out to be the villain. And I loved him from Lord of the Rings, so I was very angry. And I never watched the rest of them. Yeah, he's the villain in the first one. So I was like, all right, I will probably read the books. These are books that I know people who don't enjoy reading also enjoy, but also people who like reading do enjoy. So I feel like it's a very good in-between. And obviously Dan Brown has 1 million books, so if I like him, it'll be a good thing. And then last, we have our last Michael Crichton. I also do not know what this is because it was in a little free library and I keep picking them up. I've read Jurassic Park and I read Prey, and I think I started another one of his books that I have not finished. But I'm picking up all of them because I really like Jurassic Park and Prey a lot. And that is it.
Wow!
Oh my gosh. I'm just going to put them all back on that shelf.
Yep.
But yeah. If you, for some reason, have not watched Kate's video yet, please go watch that. Oh, I have to count them. What was yours? 30?
I was up to 35.
35. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36.
Wow! You won!
By 1 book. I also feel like I just got thicker books.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I had all of these little ones. Yeah.
So it looked like a lot more books.
Yeah.
We almost tied.
Woo!
Technically, you still win because you have all
Yeah,
the
I have
children's
none of
books.
children's books, like 100 kids' books.
I'm really curious how many.
I am.
Because
I'm
I
gonna
also
count.
gave you like 10.
Yeah. Did I take those?
Yeah, we put them in your trunk before we left here. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this. Go check out Kate's video. I can't believe we almost bought the same amount of books.
That's crazy.
That's not what I was expecting. But I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you all for watching, and I will see all of you guys next time.